Hello and welcome. Today, let's take the journey to one of the most diverse and fascinating countries in the world, Indonesia.
Indonesia is a Southeast Asian nation made up of more than 7,000 islands, stretching across the equator, with a population of over 270 million people. It is the fourth most populous country in the world and the largest in Southeast Asia. The capital city is Jakarta, located on the island of Java, which is the most populated island on Earth.
Indonesia is known for its incredible cultural diversity. More than 300 ethnic groups and over 700 languages are spoken throughout the archipelago. So despite these differences, the national motto is Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, which means unity in diversity. So this phrase perfectly reflects the spirit of the Indonesian people, who live together in harmony while celebrating their unique traditions and backgrounds.
The official language is Bahasa Indonesia, and the majority of Indonesians practice Islam, making it a country with the largest Muslim population in the world. However, religious tolerance is a value too, and other religions such as Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, and local belief systems are also practiced freely.
Indonesia's landscape is just as diverse as its people. From lush rainforests and active volcanoes to white sandy beaches and coral reefs. The country offers breathtaking and natural beauty. Some of the most famous destinations include Bali, a world-renowned island for its beaches and culture, Komodo Island, home to the giant Komodo dragon, and Raha Ampat, a paradise for scuba divers.
Economically, Indonesia is a rising power. It is a member of G20 and has a growing economy based on natural resources, manufacturing, and a booming digital industry. Agriculture, mining, and tourism also play vital roles. In recent years, the country has invested heavily in infrastructure and digital transformation to support sustainable development.
Indonesian culture is rich and vibrant, influenced by centuries of trade and migration. Traditional arts like batik fabric, wayang puppetry, and gamelan music are deeply rooted in daily life. Food in Indonesia is another cultural highlight. Dishes like nasi goreng or fried rice, rendang or spiced beef, and satay or grilled skewers are loved both locally and internationally.
Politically, Indonesia is a democratic struggle. It gained independence from Dutch colonial rule in 1945, and today it stands as a stable democracy with regular elections and an active civil society.
Indonesia also plays an important role in regional and global affairs. It is a founding member of ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and the voice of foreign climate actions and multicultural dialogue on the global stage.
Indonesia's education system and language is Indonesia's education system is managed by Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology. It follows the 6-4 structure, 6 years of primary school, 3 years of junior secondary school, 3 years of senior secondary school, and 4 years of university level higher education.
Education is compulsory for 9 years, covering both primary and junior secondary levels. Students typically begin school at the age of 7. Public education is free during the compulsory years, although families may still bear costs for uniforms, textbook, and transportation.
At secondary level, students can choose between general academic tracks or vocational schools, which focus more on technical and practical skills. At the university level, students attend their public or private institutions, with state universities generally considered more prestigious.
The official language of instruction in the most Indonesian school is Bahasa Indonesia, the national language. This unified both national identity and ensure equal access to education across the countries.
serves as the medium of instruction in most schools and universities, the language of government and legal affairs, the primary language of media and national communication, a symbol of national identity and unity. The government has taken a strong role in developing, standardizing, and promoting Bahasa Indonesia. This includes establishing institutions like the Language Development and Fostering Agency under the Ministry of Education, which is responsible for regulating vocabulary, grammar, spelling, and modernizing the language to adapt to technological and scientific changes.
Multilingualism and regional languages. Despite the dominance of Bahasa Indonesia, Indonesia remains a multilingual nation. Ethnic and regional languages such as Javanese, Sudanese, Balinese, Minangkabau, Bugis, and many others are still widely spoken in homes and communities. The Indonesian Constitution recognizes this diversity. Article 32 states that the government shall promote and preserve regional languages and cultures. In practice, this means that while Bahasa Indonesia is the primary language in official settings, local languages can be used in early education and local schools, especially in areas where Bahasa Indonesia is not the first language, cultural ceremonies and traditional institutions, local media such as radio, newspaper, and television broadcast. In fact, local governments are encouraged to support the development and teaching of indigenous languages as part of regional autonomy. Many provinces offer local language classes in schools or integrate them into cultural studies.
Language and education. Indonesia's education policy plays a central role in language development and dissemination. Bahasa Indonesia is a language of instruction from primary school through higher education. English is taught as a foreign language starting in elementary school with greater emphasis in secondary education. In regions with a strong presence of local languages, early grade students may receive bilingual instructions in both the local language and Bahasa Indonesia to ease the transition into formal education. This is supported by UNESCO recommendation on mother tongue-based multilingual education. However, challenges remain. In some remote or under-resourced areas, students may struggle to fully grasp lessons in Bahasa Indonesia if it is not spoken at home. To address this, some NGOs and local education offices work on creating learning materials in local languages for training bilingual teachers.
Language in government and law. Bahasa Indonesia is the official language of government, legislation, and public administration. All official documents, including laws, court decisions, national exams, and public announcements, are written in Bahasa Indonesia. In 2009, Law Number 24 on the flag, language, national symbols, and anthem was enacted. This law strengthened the position of Bahasa Indonesia in legal and governmental contexts. It mandates that first, all state officials use Bahasa Indonesia in official settings. Second, official agreements, including those involving foreign parties, must be made in Bahasa Indonesia. And lastly, public signage and documents must be written in Bahasa Indonesia. This law ensures uniformity and reinforces the symbolic importance of Bahasa Indonesia as a unifying language.
English and foreign languages. So English plays an important role as a global language in Indonesia. It is taught in schools and often used in business, tourism, and higher education. Some private and international schools use English as the medium of instruction, and many universities offer programs in English to attract international students and meet global standards. Other foreign languages such as Mandarin, Arabic, Japanese, and Korean are also increasingly popular, especially due to economic and cultural exchange.
Challenges and criticisms. While Indonesia's language policy is generally seen as a success in unifying a diverse nation, it is not without challenges. First challenge is the language endangerment. Many local languages are at risk of extinction, especially as younger generation prioritize Bahasa Indonesia or English. UNESCO lists several Indonesian languages as endangered to lack of integrational and transmissions. Second is educational gaps. In regions where Bahasa Indonesia is not the mother language, students may face difficulties in academic performance if they are not proficient in the national language. Third, the urban versus rural divide. In urban centers, children often grow up speaking Bahasa Indonesia natively. In contrast, in rural or remote areas, children may learn it only in school, creating disparities in language proficiency and educational outcomes. Fourth, globalization pressure. The rise of English and other global languages poses a challenge in maintaining the status of purity of Bahasa Indonesia. Code switching and the use of Bahasa Gaul or slang language among youth can erode formal usage.
Indonesia's language policy is a remarkable example of using a shared language to unify a diverse and multilingual society. Bahasa Indonesia, adapted from Malay and shaped by nationalist ideals, has become a powerful symbol of identity, equality, and communication. At the same time, the government recognized the importance of preserving regional languages and cultures. Through education, policy, legal frameworks, and cultural support, Indonesia continues to balance the need for national unity with the values of linguistic diversity. The future of Indonesia's language policy will depend on how well the nation continues to adapt to modern challenges, preserving indigenous languages, promoting bilingual education, and competing in an increasingly globalized world. Ultimately, the success of this policy lies in its ability to connect people across islands, generations, and cultural boundaries while respecting the richness of Indonesia's linguistic heritage.